busy with our expenditure analysis step in the spending review methodology, which is step 4. And we've been talking with Karen and with Michele on the steps that comprise the expenditure analysis. So you typically find your data, you consolidate and clean it, you group and allocate it, and then you analyze it. And they've taken us through BAS, but there is this wonderful, huge, amazing database called PERSAL, which we have brought Dr. Hadmi Bahrain to speak to us about today. So very warm welcome to you, Hadmi. Can you tell us what PERSAL is and how it links to the spending review project?
Okay, so PERSAL is government's personnel and salary system. It covers all national and provincial departments. We have this data from 2006 onwards, so we've got a lot of detail in this data. Of course, when we analyze compensation, then we go to PERSAL. Because of this detail, you're just able to do a much more comprehensive and detailed analysis and understand that very important component of the budget a bit better. We know that compensation takes a huge share of the total expenditure, maybe not a huge one, but a big share, and that this share is growing fast. So we have a big chunk of expenditure that is absorbing more and more every year. So it is very important to analyze compensation. And for that analysis, PERSAL is the best data source we have available.
Hadmi, I'm interested in PERSAL because with the exploration into BAS, there is data on personnel expenditure in BAS. So why do we need to look at PERSAL as well?
Yes, Jeremy, BAS is bringing all the expenditure together. So it has compensation, and it's important to see compensation within the totality of expenditure. BAS gets its personnel expenditure from PERSAL. So there's a link between PERSAL and BAS. But then PERSAL has much more detail. And the thing that PERSAL has that's not available in BAS is the number of personnel. So we know we're able to analyze things like unit costs, like average salary, by linking the personnel and the expenditure directly. And this is what PERSAL allows us to do.
Okay, great. So you can actually really zoom in to the detail of a department's personnel expenditure, how many people, the notches, all of the increases that can be given to a government employee.
Exactly.
But there's this question in the back of my mind: how much leeway do departments actually have in this area? Because wages are negotiated in the bargaining council, and then it's up to the departments to implement a decision of the bargaining council. So is there any leeway that departments have to bring their compensation of employees down?
You're right, Jeremy. The major driver of compensation expenditure is outside of the control of departments. But as you will see when you start doing this analysis, there's two parts that departments still have a level of control over, and that is the number of personnel and the average salary. So in terms of the number of personnel, the levers that departments have is something like natural attrition, where you don't appoint all the people or reappoint or appoint people for all the vacancies that emerge. So, or you can look at early retirement and other termination policies that may still be available to departments. So that is when you manage headcount in departments. Then also, in terms of the average salary, the salary growth, there's also things that departments can control. For instance, a department can determine the rate at which they give notch increases. Departments can slow down overtime and shifts in some cases. So, and then when you do appointments, you can appoint people at lower levels than those who you're replacing. So, and I invite everybody, there may be many more things from your knowledge of departments that may be investigated where there could be further savings.
Great to have me. I mean, I've seen some of the work that you've done, and it's really very exciting because you introduce a whole lot of variables that you can play with the data in departments and see what, if we did this, what would the saving be? If we did that, what would the saving be? So there's a great invitation to all of the participants on the project to explore the data, ask the questions, and if you run into trouble, do speak to the team that's there to assist you. And of course, Hermie is the doctor of PERSAL and will be able to help you with your questions there. Hermie, do you have any advice for people as they engage with this big data set called PERSAL?
Yes, I think my advice would be to fully use your opportunity to work with this data. It is a real asset that we have in National Treasury. For the past 4 years, I've been working on this data. You know, it is confidential data, so we need to be conscious of that. But it is experience that you can take to other environments and that you can take into other areas of your work. To be able to analyze data, to be able to work in Excel using the latest thoughts and techniques and technology is an absolute privilege. And I would encourage you, if you have questions, I love working with data, so and others in the team as well. So please don't be scared of this analysis. It's easier than you may think, and please bring your insight.
Fantastic. And of course, you have some great slide presentations which go into detail around how you work with the PERSAL data. So we'd encourage all the viewers to go and explore that in more detail. Hermie Bahrain, thank you so much for joining me, and we look forward to exploring PERSAL data in more detail. Thank you so much.